The Twin Twist.
We call this here a little twin.
Twin, that's my twin.
You don't believe me? Go ask the twins.
Hey, everybody. We want to welcome you to the Twin Twist Show. This is Miss Nick.
And this is your girl, Lady T, and we are real-life twin sisters who are always having conversations about pop culture, current events, and gossip and tea, and we decided to start recording it.
So, guys, eventually we want to do recaps and reviews and different things for our favorite TV shows, but for now, we're just going to get started with our week in review, and we also call this the Twist T. So, Miss T, tell us what's on your mind from this week.
Wow, this week was crazy. I think obviously the biggest thing that was happening is Trump got arrested.
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, it looks like he got picked up in New York. He was arraigned on Tuesday for 34 counts of felony falsifying New York business records. And, it's looking interesting. For your boy, it's crazy. I think that it's just sad for the nation to have, a former president actually be this legally exposed. But at the same time, no one man is above the law. And if there are other co-conspirators like Michael Cohen who actually were convicted and did time for the exact same thing, then I don't see how Trump should get a pass. But everybody is innocent until proven guilty. He has the right to have his day in court like anyone else who's been accused, and we'll see how it turns out. What do you think about it, Nick?
Indeed, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, except for people like the Central Park Five, maybe, I don't know how I feel about it. Of course, he needs to be held accountable. I have no doubts that he has committed multiple crimes before, during, and after the presidency, but also, unfortunately, I just really don't have that much faith for the system. It kind of is what it is. I think that this is just going to be like a long, drawn-out media thing, but ultimately, I don't see him doing any time or anything like that. He'll just pay a fine, and it'll be what it's always been when it comes to, rich and powerful people in this society. It's unfortunate. Like, honestly, I'm still in shock that people even took his candidacy seriously in 2016. Like, I don't know what else to say besides it is what it is. But, like, the New York case, is just one. He's under investigation for several other things. So this one, of course, is tied to Stormy Daniels and paying hush money to the porn star. And so people ask, why is that a big deal? That's personal business. That don't have anything to do with anything. But could you give us any insight about, because I know that what they're saying is that it's about falsifying records and falsifying business documents. Okay.
Yeah, so you're right. It's not illegal to have an affair, and it's also not illegal to pay someone to not disclose the affair. What became illegal is that he actually falsified documents to cover up the payments. But because he used his campaign funds that were donated by people who believed in him and were supporting him for a personal reason, and then when it was time to record it, they covered it up and tried to make it look like it was for something else. They actually tried to make it look like it was payment to Michael Cohen. So just as personal payment for an attorney payment, they gave him this big whopping lump sum to make up or cover up for the payment that he gave the ladies, Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels, to keep their intimate time with Donald Trump a secret. Personally, I wouldn't tell a soul I let gave Donald Trump none. I wouldn't want anybody to know that. They would take that to the grave. But
like Megan Thee
that's what's
Stallion.
happening. Again, right? Yeah, but for anybody that's confused, let's make it real clear. This is not about him having an affair. It's not even necessarily that he paid them off. Had he paid them off out of his own money in his own bank account, that's square. There's nothing illegal about that. But because he actually used funds that were donated to his campaign because people believed in him, believed in his message, and wanted to see him win, you have to use those funds specifically for campaign purposes. You cannot use them for anything personal. And in addition to the fact that they're accusing him allegedly, or we still have to use that word until after the results of the trial. Allegedly, they are saying that he falsified documents to cover up or support the fact that he used campaign funds to do that. So that's what this particular case is really about. As you mentioned, Nick, he has several other cases in several other jurisdictions about an array of different things. So he's got a lot going on while he is running for office again. So we'll see how that turns out. I know that the next hearing on this is not until December. So this probably will be super drawn out. It'll probably be a long time before this particular case actually has a result or a verdict, but we'll be looking out.
So, yeah, there are multiple investigations for Trump. I know it's got the investigation in Georgia. It's got, I think, a tax evasion kind of thing in New York. And then there are multiple investigations by the feds. It's just all a mess. We will see how that turns out. But while we're kind of on the topic of like two different systems for people, I wanted to bring up Sunday's basketball game, the NCAA tournament. In the finals, we had LSU versus Iowa. And Iowa has this really dynamic player named Caitlin Clark. She is white, but she is a phenomenal basketball player and she's been killing it. And in the semifinal game, she really had a huge performance. I think she put up like 40 points and it was like a star was born that night. She's super swaggy. She has lots of attitude and she was giving the girls on the other team like the John Cena slash originally Tony Ayo, waving her hand in front of her face like you can't see me and everything like that. Like she's got the swag, she talks a lot of smack on the court and stuff like that, but she's got the skills to back it up. But on Sunday when they faced LSU, they came across a stronger team. So what happens next is kind of crazy.
Shout out to Monica Wright from Love and Basketball, So, and of course, it's the championship. These are the two best teams, So it was a hard-fought battle. They went back and forth, but LSU won. They were victorious. So
Right.
2 days ago in the semifinals, you had Caitlin Clark just swag for days. You can't see me waving her hand in front of her face. And so 2 days later at the next game, you got a player named Angel Reese from LSU. Angel Reese is African American, and she is giving it just like Caitlin gave it 2 days ago. But for some reason, social media blew up. The sports media blew up, saying that when Angel Reese, the black player, when she is talking smack on the court and taunting and stuff like that, then that is poor sportsmanship and it's classless. But 2 days later, when Caitlin Clark was doing the exact same thing, they were praising her and a star is born. So this has caused like a big backlash and people were like, okay, hold up, what's the difference? And it's just been really interesting to see how like this is kind of the thing that black people go through all the time, black women specifically, and it's like a double standard in almost everything. We get it both ways. We get it racially, we get it, as women versus men, girls versus boys. So it was just really interesting to see kind of like the mirror being held up to society, and it is what it is. I think it's also interesting that Angel Reese and her teammates from LSU, they are completely and thoroughly unapologetic. She gave her post-game interview, and sis was like, I am who I am, and she's like, this whole season, people have called me ghetto, and, said I was too, but I am who I am, and, like, she got like 1 million followers on Instagram and Twitter over the weekend, and she's going up. She has an NIL deal. She is selling merch, and just making a big deal out of this. And so I think it's awesome. I think it's great for her, and I want to see her, just take advantage of this opportunity and do well. But I have one little thing. If I was giving her advice, I just got one little thing that I would tell her. What do you think?
What do I think that you should tell her?
No, what do you think about the media's reaction? And then I'll tell you later what my advice to.
Okay. So first off, shout out to the winner of the men's tournament, UConn. So shout out to those fellas there. Congratulations, guys. Obviously, shout out to the women of LSU who completely dominated that championship game. They did their thing. They're amazing. And Iowa's Caitlin Clark, I mean, she the truth, man. She's the AP Player of the Year. She has like a ton of other accolades. We're not taking anything away from her. She is a baller. But, this particular night, this particular game, LSU came out on top. What I love about Angel Reese, and we've talked about this before, not necessarily on a podcast, but just in one of those conversations that we should have recorded but didn't. As far as Black people and Black women specifically, there's always kind of been the need to assimilate in your speech, assimilate in your appearance, to, try to make everyone else comfortable by just trying to be, I don't know another way to say it. You're less threatening if you assimilate more with the majority culture here. What Angel and the rest of her team is saying is like, no, we are unapologetically Black girls. We gonna wear our lace fronts, which, by the way, is a whole other story how you can be that sweaty and working up that kind of steam and still keep your lace intact.
And the lashes too.
We gonna wear our lashes, and we gonna ball, and we are not going to lessen ourselves or not be our true authentic selves just because you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That is life-changing. Now, with that being said, I don't think you have to bend your back to make somebody else comfortable. You can be authentically yourself, but you can also do so and have actions and decisions with the realization that, there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger bag. There's more to it than just in that moment. You have to kind of play chess and not checkers. Like the Dave Chappelle skit, when keeping it real goes wrong. Like, yeah, do you, be you. But remember, there's other things that you want to achieve. There's other things that you can grab a hold to. You can use this opportunity to expose you to other things. So you mentioned kind of like having a word of advice for Angel. The only thing I would advise her to do is to obviously use this platform, this time where you have your 15 minutes, and try to expand and open that up as much as you can to other people. There was a big thing about Dr. Jill Biden, the First Lady, because you know that anytime there's a championship, the winner is invited to the White House. And Dr. Jill had suggested inviting Iowa as well. And Angel was like, thanks but no thanks. We'll go see the Obamas. Now, I get it. I absolutely get it. With that being said, the argument specifically, if I could just be flat out, is that if the roles were reversed, if Iowa won and LSU lost, they don't believe that LSU would have been invited to the White House as the runners-up. And I agree. But I charge it to Dr. Jill's snafu to certain things. She may not be really up to date on college athletics and just how all that works, particularly. There are also gender issues with the entire thing. I think that people are comfortable or okay with men expressing themselves passionately when it comes to winning and losing. And it's always kind of expected that women should always be graceful and gracious at all times, and they're not allowed to be passionate and express themselves at the same time. So I think that that may have been an element why I guess she may have deemed good sportsmanship as a priority over just honoring the winners. And just, she's an educator. She's from an environment where it's just about being inclusive and making sure everybody is acknowledged. But, this particular sport, this particular game is not about participation trophies. Again, to get to the championship game of the NCAA tournament is a phenomenal accomplishment, but it still ain't winning. So big ups and all props to Caitlin, who balls out. And Iowa, however, no, they do not need equal or even acknowledgement or celebration as LSU because they did not win. LSU is the winners. They did their thing. They deserve the props. Now let me hear what your advice to Miss Angel would be.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you pretty much read me. Like, Angel, baby, the world is yours right now, but I need you to play this very, 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 very carefully, as to not close any doors. So, yes, Dr. Jill Biden, she said that she wanted to invite both teams to the White House. Angel basically gave a no thanks but no thanks, and then they said they wanted some of the members of the team said they want to go to see the Obamas and everything like that. Like, don't close these doors, Angel. It's a way. I'm not telling you to sell out, but you're very young. She's only 20, so a lesson that I would tell somebody that age is to play the game. Don't sell your soul. Don't sell out, but play the game. The Obamas and the Bidens are very, very close, like personally, and so I think that the Obamas should step in and kind of do like a beer summit. Remember early into the Obama presidency where it was that thing where the police came to
Skip Gates' house.
Yeah, Skip Gates' house. Exactly. And Biden had to kind of like step in and kind of smooth that over and help his boy out. So I think that the Obamas should step in. They should come and, greet the winning team, LSU, and kind of smooth this out and make it a little bit easier for Angel to move forward without kind of shutting down opportunities in the future. But otherwise, I love it. I love to see the young girlies, just kind of being themselves unapologetically. So congratulations to LSU. I think that's super dope, and move carefully, girl, because I want to see you win in all aspects. So next.
I just want to add one more thing to that, too, and that is that, when we were coming up, obviously we're Detroiters, and we were super big Fab Five fans. And when they had the documentary a couple of years ago, and they were like showing like the stories and the backstage footage and things that we didn't see that were going on those 2 years that they had their run. One thing that really stood out to me is that they were kids. 18, 19, 20, they were babies. And I understand that legally you're of age, but anybody can remember how still green you were at 19, 20 years old. The personal attacks that are made on any young athlete, any that's not a professional athlete, any young college athlete, to personally attack them for anything is just extra cool. While you sitting on your couch And these kids are not only going through all kind of physical discipline, but also educationally, because they still got to get their grades. They still got to handle whatever drama is going on at home, whatever they have to deal with there. Just trying to find your place in life. There is so much that you're balancing in that kind of young age. And for somebody to make personal attacks on you is just real grimy and jackhole-ish. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. You know, we all at home sitting with our Twitter fingers going. Just remember, these are kids.
Mm-hmm.
These are kids who probably have a whole lot of stuff they're trying to figure out and measure and balance. That's just such a integral age in any young person's life, that young adulthood age. And while you're making personal critiques on them about a game, just remember when you were 20, what kind of stuff you did, what kind of stuff your parents got you out of, what kind of stuff by the grace of God nobody can dig up, you know?
Amen, preacher. You said a word.
Thank you. Now that I got that off my chest.
Yeah,
Again, shout out and congrats to you, time at LSU.
Yes, absolutely. So let's lighten it up a little bit, because finally, after years and years and years of drama and supposed boycotts, or I should say proposed boycotts and everything like that, we finally got the stand-up comedy special from Monique streaming on Netflix. I have not seen it yet, so feel free to give spoilers. We'll do a spoiler announcement. T, give me your review. How did she do? Was this worth all of the fuss? Let's break it down.
First off, congratulations to Monique for getting that special. Obviously, a lot of elements went into it, but that's what she wanted to do, and she was finally able to come to an agreement with Netflix and get that special out. So congratulations to her for that. She had to actually overcome a lot of stuff to get to that point, and so she's at the point she wanted to be, and I congratulate her and salute her for that. With that being said, I love Monique. I think Monique is an extremely talented actress in comedic roles, and of course in dramatic roles, where she has her Oscar award for that. However, as a her stand-up act, I've never really been a fan of her stand-up. To me, it's always just been a lot of cussing and a lot of vulgarity. You know, it's just been a whole lot about a big girl who can please her man. And while I'm not mad about a big girl who can please her man at all, I think in stand-up it also has to have a punchline. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's just a proclamation, and it's never necessarily a joke. So I really, honestly, I was hopeful, because I was rooting for her as an entertainer, as an individual, and as a performer, but my expectations were low upon viewing the stand-up special, because I traditionally haven't really cared for her stand-up. And I also want to reiterate that stand-up is an art form, and as all art forms are suggestive. People interpret things differently, people receive things differently, and I am only giving you my personal experience and opinion in reference to her as a comic, a stand-up comic. Other people, I'm sure, have different opinions, and that's okay. All right, so I want to start off by that. It's okay if someone has a different opinion. I did not. My expectations were low, and my expectations were met. It was basically a lot of vulgarity, and a lot of cussing, which, again, I don't have a problem with that as long as it has a punchline attached to it. I was waiting to laugh through the whole thing. It might have been one time I did kind of laugh. It might have been maybe a chuckle or two after that. Otherwise, there was no real reaction from me. She shared some really personal things. What I thought was really interesting is that she gave some feedback and kind of explained why she's such a equality warrior. She, told a couple of stories about things that had happened in her youth and why she always kind of wants to stand up on her principles, and that shed some light into why she is, again, the way that she is. But again, there wasn't a punchline with it. So it wasn't necessarily made funny. And she also shared and disclosed some personal things about herself, her relationship with her husband, some personal things about her upbringing, and people that are in her family. And I don't want to get too into it because we don't want to give like a whole lot of complete spoilers. I'm not trying to repeat her show line by line.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I don't want to, repeat her show line by line. But it was really interesting, and again, it shed some light on her as an individual, which I think, we kind of needed, because although I have kind of rooted and have been wanting to see her win, I also have some disagreements about how she attempted to go about certain things. It's the kind of thing where it's like, don't let your good be evil spoken of. I don't know if you guys know that kind of old school phrase, but don't let your good be evil spoken of basically says don't let your actions or how you seek to do something that's good and beneficial come off harmful. Obviously, most people can understand the concept of, being equal and being fairly compensated and all those other things, but you also can stand up for yourself without being disrespectful or dishonorable to other people, especially people who are in the position to make or break you.
Similar to what we were saying about Angel Reese. It's like, and I don't, it is a balance that we all have to like walk this tightrope, playing the game versus not selling your soul or not selling out. I think it's actually quite similar to what's going on, what Monique has gone through her career, and then where Miss Angel is, at this point. So very, very interesting. So would you recommend it? Should I watch it or no?
I'm still rooting for Monique. I root for her as a person, as a human being, as a woman. So even though this does not meet my personal expectation for stand-up that I like or that I prefer, I would never tell anybody else, don't watch it, don't give it a chance. You may have a completely different opinion of it than me. And it don't matter if I didn't care for it, she's still getting paid for my streaming it. So I want to see sis get a buck. So everybody do it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody do it. My thing about this opportunity with Netflix is that Netflix kind of, I'm sure that they would like for it to be commercially recognized. And from what I've kind of seen on Twitter, it's been primarily mixed. I've seen some people who share my opinion. I've seen some other people who think it was phenomenal. But hopefully, at the end of the day, it kind of don't matter. What matters is the numbers, the amount of people who viewed it. And if it looks good, then I'm pretty sure that will open her up to other opportunities with Netflix where she might be able to put something out that I might personally enjoy more. You know what I'm saying? Because I think she's a great actress. I love her in movies. I love her on the TV show. I just don't necessarily prefer her stand-up. So if she make it big on this and Netflix say, okay, we like the coin we got off this, we're going to give you, we're going to support you in producing producing a film or producing a series, kind of like the Upshaws or, something like that. I want sis to win. So I'm never going to tell anybody don't watch it.
Sounds good.
I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to encourage everybody to watch it. Let sis get her coin. Let sis be able to express herself and share her talents. And I personally did not enjoy this specific talent, but because I enjoy others, I still want to see her be able to express herself and do her thing. So please watch it. Please stream My Name is Monique on Netflix.
All right, absolutely, 100%. Okay, so now it's time to get into the dirt of the week, the hottest of the hot tea of the week, and what we mean is our week in reality TV. These are the shows that we watch and we talk about. So we've been holding back and waiting to talk about these shows. So T, go ahead. What's the first show we're talking about?
All right. Okay, so it's funny because all these shows are so late in the season that it really wasn't worth actually doing recaps or reviews on the shows because we are way behind. But the first thing we're going to talk about is Netflix Love is Blind.
Ooh.
Now, we have been keeping up on this mess of a season all season long. Obviously, we have our standouts, Britt and Tiffany, who we are shipping, and we want them to be super duper happy and have babies because they are mature and emotionally stable and able to communicate and do the damn thing. We heart them. There are people who we are kind of questioning, like Kwame and Chelsea. Like, what is the deal there? He kind of is a little too comfortable when he be hanging out with Micah, and then he's kind of expressed some things to Chelsea about feeling like he's really had to sacrifice and compromise some things. You know, they had a conversation about when they should start a family. She's excited about trying to start a family, you know, in a couple of years, and he's feeling like, oh, you know, we're not going to be able to pick up and go and do the things that he always kind of wanted to do. So it looks like they're having some definitely communication issues and definitely some inappropriate flirting conversations with somebody who you was crying about in the pod.
It's Kwame. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know, I don't want to like pile on, and you know, but apparently he had auditioned for Married at First Sight. They found him found some footage of him auditioning for Married at First Sight. So it's like, I mean, I get it. A lot of people, they do, you know, try out for multiple shows and until they get put on. But this is something that is so like, it's not like a dating show. Like you're signing up to get married to somebody, like a legally binding marriage. You know, reality TV is fun, it's messy, but sometimes it's kind of cringy, like you're watching somebody like really for real go through like emotional distress, or you know, like they're clearly not really strong, their mental is not strong enough to handle the pressures of the situation, and sometimes it's like not good to watch at all. I think that some like the production, like what's their responsibility, because of course you want to make a good show, you want to have drama, you want to have people kind of losing it, but not to the point where they're exploited.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder about production. Do they give these people proper screening? Do they give them background checks and, you know, kind of check and see if they're emotionally strong enough to handle this? I think that with the some of the casting is like, okay, come on, like it's clear that these people are not serious for what this show is about. And I think with Kwame, and then, you know, when the very first episode when he was talking about he was going to go by name Alex instead of Kwame because he didn't want to be put in a box. His name put him in a box, you know. I'm putting up air quotes. So clearly he felt comfortable, you know, with his name. And you know, why, sir, are you uncomfortable with the name, you know? And so he's not ready. And then why would you, if you live in Portland, why would you go on a show that's based in Seattle when the likelihood that that's why I don't understand the casting for these shows. Like, you got to make sure that the people that you bring are really, really, you know, into what the show is about. Because you could be on TV, you could do anything if you want to be on TV, you know. But why would you choose?
Yeah, you can be on any show. Why would you choose a show that's literally an engagement on speed?
Yes, exactly. If you're not ready. And then we're going to talk about another couple and another person who, God bless her, but like I don't understand how it got past production, how it got past casting. Okay, so that's my Kwame rant. God bless him. let's move on. Next couple.
Well, no, can I ask something about Kwame? I did not know that he had auditioned for Married at First Sight. So
Yeah,
that leads me to believe that he really does want to, like you said, if he's choosing reality shows that are specifically about, like I said, engagements and marriage on speed, then I would assume that that's really what he wants to do. Like, he could have been on America's Got Talent and, shine shoes. He could have. There are 100 talent shows about 100 different things. But it's also possible that once he got in the thick of it, he was like, whoa, this is overwhelming. This is too much. Like, your sensors start going up, and you're like, what the hell? And then also, he maybe really be checking for Micah. I mean, I don't know. There are a couple of different things, but the fact that he applied to another TV show that basically, the premise is very similar, kind of makes you feel like that really is what he wanted. But maybe once he got in the middle of it, it was overwhelming or too consuming for him. I don't know. We'll have to see when the finale comes out. But I know he needs to leave Micah alone. Micah, to me, is the kind of girl who just likes to be chosen.
Yeah.
But after she's picked, she's like bored.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think, like, the whole thing with Paul is that he had a connection with somebody else, and she literally made him dump his connection kind of in the middle of the process. Like, they hadn't even gotten to the point where it was time for them to start, doing the proposals. But he chose her in the middle of the process, and she liked that. And the thing about Kwame is that she feel like he would have chose her too. And that's why she has these inappropriate. Now, I'm not going to say just she, like she's having the conversation by herself, but like she's the only one who is having. But no, the two of them do not need to be talking about, oh, I still think about you, or I still care about you, or anything that happened in the pods. Like, and you know me, I am not a jealous girl by no means. But that's really whack. Their communications when they be huddled up in the corner doing them, group hangouts and stuff like that. But I think Chelsea needs to get everybody together.
Not really. I think Chelsea needs to go take her little dog. It's just like he's not the one. I mean, but best of luck to both of them. I think Chelsea is 100% dialed in to the process, and she is dialed into making this commitment and making this work. I think that Chelsea may be so dialed in that like he wasn't particularly. So it's like it wouldn't matter who the guy is. It's like this guy, ghost face of a guy. He's going to be my forever love because this is the process. And I'm not even faulting her for that, because if you're going to do it, to me, I think do it all the way. It's obviously a reason why you a person might feel like this is kind of like the best option for me to make right now for my life, picking a life partner. So Chelsea's all the way in, and so I think that she's not seeing some obvious things, and I am very anxious to see how that plays out between the two of them.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
So who is the next couple?
Okay, we definitely wanted to touch on Jackie and Marshall.
Dum dum dum. Okay, so I was referring to Jackie when I just don't see how she got through casting. I really don't. And I think that Jackie is hella dope. I liked her vibe from the beginning. She seems like a really cool girl, straight up. She says what's on her mind and everything like that. But to me, it seems clear that she is not in a space to actually, get married and be like in a serious relationship and stuff like that. She has actually been on social media, and she kind of said something that her dad was going through a serious illness, and I was kind of referring to when she kind of had that breakdown during the honeymoon in Mexico. Well, it wasn't a honeymoon. It was an engagement vacay or whatever in Mexico. She had referenced her dad being very, very ill. He was diagnosed with a serious disease, and she was taking care of him. And this was kind of overwhelming. And I get that. I get all of that. But later in the later episode, she kind of revealed that her parents weren't, her family was not supportive of this and stuff like that. And so clearly, sis is going through a lot. This is definitely not the time for her to be trying to get married to somebody that she only talked to across the wall for a few weeks, and she knows it too, because from the moment they met, she tells him repeatedly, I'm scared I'm going to run you off. I'm scared I'm going to chase you away. She's letting him know, that she's going to mess this up. And so I don't see it working for them, obviously. The little cliffhanger from episode 8 was a mess with Mr. Josh looking cray-cray. And then, of course, a couple of days ago, somebody on TikTok spotted Jackie and Josh together. The detectives did their detecting on the internet. They noticed that on the TikTok, Jackie is wearing the same jacket that Josh has on in episode 8. And so
Whoa, it just ain't got nothing to do for them to pull that up and confirm that. But shout out to the TikTok detectives, I ain't mad.
I mean, but honestly, I think it'll be a mess with him too. Like, we'll see what happens. I cannot wait until these episodes drop. And then, you know what? And I'm going to be honest about Marshall. Marshall, again, I like him as a person. I think he seems like a really, really sweet guy. But he got to that argument with Jackie. And Jackie was wilding out. And she said, why you with me? Why you with me? And he said, because I thought you were a project. And I'm like, what? Okay, Marshall. Marshall is so sweet. He cooks and does the dishes and all this stuff. But Marshall, you got to do some self-reflecting. You got to do a little bit of work. Why do you
want to be a rescuer? Yeah.
That you have to save? Like, what is it about? Why don't you want to be with somebody who's your equal, who you could partner with? Why do you want to be with somebody that if you're her coach or trainer or teacher or whatever, that kind of puts you in a position above her where she's has to be like grateful to you, or like instead of being more equal. Like, what is it going on about you that you feel like this is the role that you have to take? And so I think that he is a self-aware man. He has, like, the very first, like, kind of interview, the confessional he gave, he said that he has been led by his emotions, and he's been kind of ridiculed for his emotions as well. So he's aware of things, and I have trust and belief that he's going to figure that out. What's that part of him that that he was drawn to her for that purpose, the project. And he did, because she was highly offended, which it was offensive. And
I would have said that way too.
My mouth dropped, girl. And but he cleaned it up. He said, well, no, it's not that I see as a project, it's that I see unlimited potential, and I want to help you, be the best person you could be, which I'm all down for. You having a partner where you guys can learn from each other, where you guys could, help each other and challenge each other to be the best. I'm all down for all of that. But that project stuff, Marshall, you're a good guy. You are a good man. But do a little bit of work, figure out what's that about. And, his I think his sister and brother-in-law, and then they had a beautiful little girl. They came and met, and just the cutest family ever. So, very, very supportive. So Marshall, just, talk to your family, do some self-reflecting, maybe talk to somebody, get to the bottom of that, because I see great things for you in your future. Unfortunately, best of luck, but I don't see it with Jackie. What do you think?
Yeah, so you and I have talked before about just reality TV in general, and we talked about how, as consumers of reality TV, we have to kind of take things at face value and understand, be aware that production tells the story that they want us to see.
Very true.
This is definitely a situation or a case where I wish production had have provided more to Jackie's story. I wish that, like you mentioned, that she revealed on Twitter about, her taking care of her father and him being ill and all those other things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on IG. Well, we did not know that was never expressed in the editing of the show. And so, to me, I always kind of felt like she was just unstable. Like, there was never really an explanation as to why she would be going on these super high emotional outbursts. So I wish that production had did a better job at telling her story, so that we at least had that to provide context. But that being said, I have no words for Josh. Again, I'm sure that he has much more layers to himself as an individual than what production shared with us.
Yeah, they actually
so I'm
showed
not going to make any.
And what they did show,
Yeah, so I'm not going to make any slights on him as a person or as an individual. But production, showed us what they wanted to show us with him. And as far as Marshall, clearly he's a very sweet, tender-hearted man. And you are correct. I do think that obviously he used the wrong verbiage, but I do think he has like a Superman kind of complex. He wants to feel like he's, there to rescue a damsel in distress, where, like, you don't have to deal with a damsel, you can deal with a Wonder Woman. Like, you Superman, but you can get with Wonder Woman. You don't have to get with the person who needs rescuing. So,
yeah.
But like you mentioned before, it also appears that he's very self-aware, and he's, I believe, the best friend. He's going to be all right, and he's going to link up with the partner that is going to be a lot more fulfilling for him.
So you don't think he'll be with Jackie?
No, Jackie going to basketball games with Josh. No. No, he's not going to know with Jackie. And it doesn't, again, production tells us the story that they want us to see. We don't know if he maybe had any other connections in the pod, or, there may have been somebody else he was interested in, or he just meets somebody at the Starbucks down the street. It's no telling what's going to end up for any of them. So just wish them all the best. Obviously, the prayers are for Jackie and her family situation, her sick father. Obviously, we want the best for them in that situation as well. But sounds to me like she's made her decision. I wonder if, like, production is going to be pissed if they made, that they had such a public outing in the middle of the airing of their show.
I don't know. Like, what can you do? I have no idea. Do you think, like, it's like might be like a breach of contract or something?
I don't know. And I think that they mentioned that the actual reunion is going to be live. Like the Chris Rock comedy special was live.
Wow.
I think I read somewhere that the reunion for Love Is Blind is going to be live too.
But they need somebody else to host, but not like Nick and Vanessa. They need somebody that's gonna like really dig and get
who you think would be a good host? Who's gonna like get down to all the tea and ask real quick?
Oh my God, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Probably like.
I say T.S. Madison, only because I want T.S. Madison to host everything. I think like on all reality shows, it needs to be T.S. cut my sister check. She gonna get down to the bottom of it. She gonna keep it real. She gonna tell you everything that you need to know. She gonna ask the burning questions. Cut my sister check.
That is funny. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I would like to see that. Oh my goodness. Like, where's Wendy Williams? You know, like, we need her back. But let's move on. Okay, the next couple. We got two more.
To be perfectly honest, those are really the only ones that I go up for.
Okay, so Paul and Micah, are they gonna? What are you taking it to the altar or not? Oh, do they say I do?
No.
No. Okay.
They don't say that.
Okay, and then now this one is really interesting because they had their story wasn't like everybody else's story. We have Zach and not Irina, but Bliss. Zach originally chose Irina. She saw him and immediately was like, not. She was super, super nasty and mean to him, and he, said, nope. He called it. He said, this is not going to work. And she was like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you. So they got back. That was in Mexico, and when everybody got back to Seattle, he promptly connected with Bliss, who he was very, very close to in the pods, and he actually dumped Bliss to be with Irina. But when he met up with Bliss, he told her, I made a mistake, you know it, and I know it. And then they had a couple of dates, and he promptly proposed. So now they are kind of caught up with the rest of the couples. Where do you see them going? Because she's like, we clearly had a connection in the pods, but the fact remains that you chose Irina over me. I'm your second choice, and I'm feeling a kind of way, and so I know that we connected in the pods. I fell in love with you in the pods, but the fact that you didn't choose me, is still sitting with me. So how would you feel if you were Bliss in her situation?
I understand how she feels 1,000%, and I'm gonna be honest with you. The experiment, the whole falling in love and making a decision sight unseen is what the show is based on. Now, I don't think that his changing of his mind had anything to do with physicality. I'm pretty sure, obviously Bliss is a beautiful woman, but I'm pretty sure if he would still feel a connection to her if she wasn't so outstandingly gorgeous. So, but with that being said, if I were her, I would feel like the point of her being in that experience is to become engaged without someone ever having met you. And because that did not happen, I would not be willing to continue on in that experiment. With that being said, if you genuinely have fun with someone, I can see still maybe exploring that with him, still dating, but no, for you to literally give me a ring a few days after you gave the other chick one, no, I wouldn't be willing to do that. And I wouldn't actually be willing to want to be on the TV show any further. I would just be like, the experiment was, can you fall in love with somebody and get engaged sight unseen? That did not happen for them.
No, it didn't.
So there's nothing else to do here. Now, if we still choose, if the connection was really genuine, and I'm very sure that lots of the connections that are made on that show are really genuine, then I would consider like still talking to you. But now we don't have to do this accelerated thing anymore. We can really take the time to really see how genuine the connection is, to build on it, to see, where it's going. We don't have to be on this strange time clock now.
It's really smart. That make a lot of sense, yeah. Because, you don't have to, like, break up with him like deuces. I don't know, Yeah, I get it, 100%. Because a lot of people are saying, they could never, like, oh, I'm his second choice or whatever, like, I could never, I can't move on knowing, that he had picked Irina first. So, yeah, I think that is probably the best move. Like, take it slow. We're going to explore this, but in the end, the whole premise of the TV show, yeah. So you're saying that people should not get like a do-over as far as the TV show after you saw somebody, the person you picked, it didn't work out. You don't get to go back in the pot and tell the producers, to come film round 2.
Right, yeah, that's over. That's over.
Yeah.
The point of the show is to see if you can fall in love with somebody sight unseen, or not just fall in love, but to propose to them. And that did not happen for them.
No.
That's not what happened for them. So we don't get to do any of this anymore. But if the connection was really real, then we can continue to explore it, but outside of this controlled environment.
Okay. So, but since in this case they have decided to kind of continue with the process and with the TV social experiment or whatever, however you want to refer to it, do you think that they make it to the altar, and do we get 2 yeses? Do we get a Zach and Bliss marriage on the finale?
I don't know. I think it may be really difficult for her to not feel like she was a second choice.
And then, what's kind of frustrating to me is that, like, he kind of glossed over it. He won't acknowledge it. He's saying, like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, me and you, we had a connection. This was, he said, well, this was going to happen no matter what. No matter who I chose, it would always be me and you. We would end up together because this is what's supposed to happen. This is what's meant to be. And she's trying to explain to him, like, how she really feels about it. And he was like, well, no, you're not a second choice. No, you're not a second choice. And it's like, bruh, she kind of, like, the fact that he is not open to hearing how this made her feel and the experience of it, it kind of is giving me pause. I think that he wants to forget, what he did. And he absolutely made the wrong choice. I also think I want to give him a little bit of grace, though, just a little, because he talked about, in the past, he talked about his experience growing up with a single mom who struggled, and she was a stripper to put food on the table, and how he was often judged for being poor and judged for how his, for his mom's situation and the circumstances that they were in and everything like that. And I think a part of him, when he was aware that Bliss and Irina were kind of going back and forth back in the living quarters where they lived, and the way that kind of Bliss was kind of talking about Irina, like, she is not a nice person. I mean, which was like all facts. I don't know if she's a nice person or not, but she was not behaving nice, like as a nice person.
Yeah.
I think that a part of him, when he was hearing Bliss talk about Irina, a part of him kind of reverted to people kind of judging him and talking about him. And I think that that's where he felt like he and Irina kind of shared something. That he kind of made up, and he kind of used that experience to connect them. And so I think that was because he had feelings for both of the girls. I think that was what made him lean toward Irina. And then Bliss was how she comes from a wonderful family that's so supportive, and she said something about her dad not liking any of the guys that she ever dated or brought home or whatever like that. And I think that's another thing too that kind of triggered him being kind of being judged and rejected by other people and stuff like that. So I think that those things were on his mind, and I would just love for him to just be honest with himself. So when the conversation does come up and Bliss has asked him flat out, why didn't you pick me? What was it that you saw in her that you didn't see in me? And I think that if, doing some self-reflection, doing some work, maybe talking to somebody, I think that if those things might come to him and he could realize, okay, that's what it's about, maybe they can handle those things and move forward. But if he is just ignoring or kind of like washing away how she's feeling about the fact that he did Irina over her. I don't think that bodes well for them moving forward in the future. But I kind of like them together, But I want them to get over that, and I also would like for them to do what you said, to take it slow, go through the process, and don't do this TV show thing. But we're entertained, so I don't know. I guess it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's a good thing because they're no longer bound to the speed of the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is that it for all of our couples for Love is Blind?
I think so. That wraps up Love is Blind.
Okay, so what's the next show we love to talk about?
All right, so the next show that we are head over heels in love with is RuPaul's Drag Race.
Absolutely. RuPaul's Drag Race is getting very, very good. They are down to the final 4. So who we got? We got Sasha Colby. We got my fave, Anitra, hashtag Team Anitra. We got Lux, and we got Mistress Isabel Brooks. So what did you think about the episode? I loved the episode. Break down the episode for me.
All right, so this was our final 4 episode, and basically the ladies were challenged with writing a verse and doing choreography and doing a music video for my jam, RuPaul's Blame It on the Edit.
Fire. I think they all did so good. How do you think that they did on the challenge?
Oh, everybody, they ate. Everybody did really good. Everybody did good. But as far as their verses, but I have to give a shout out. I mean, god dang, they all really, really, really did good. But I have to give a shout out to Lux, who sang and rapped.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, that gave me. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, so it looked like Anitra had a bit of trouble with the choreography, which is interesting because we know she can dance her butt down.
Yeah,
but when it comes to doing choreography, sometimes it's a little different. Yeah. And then Mistress, who is not, quite the dancer, had some issues with the choreography, but she was able to do her thing, and they actually got some really good scenes out of her. And then, of course, her lip sync was bomb, too. This was a really, 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 really tight one.
So who won the challenge? Sasha Colby?
Yeah, Sasha won the challenge. She was the top queen. And then Lux Noor London was safe. And the bottom queens ended up being Anitra and Mistress Isabel Brooks. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the lip sync for your life?
It was good, but before they did the lip sync, they each of the contestants. It was like really, just a really cool moment where RuPaul showed each of the contestants a photo of them when they were like a toddler, like 3 or 4 years old. They said, "What would you tell the younger version of yourself?" And so each one took a moment to like talk to this photograph of them as a young child, and it was so touching. Everybody was crying. I'm sitting on my bed like, oh my gosh, it was just really, 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 really sweet, and that moment really, really touched me. So so back to the competition. I'm just a fan of Anitra. I'm sorry, I've been Team Anitra not since the beginning. You know who I used to love when the season first started? I was 100% down for Selena STDs. But when Selena got eliminated, I just was like, okay, Anitra, you have to bring us home. It's going to be very, very tough because Sasha is the favorite, because Sasha Colby is pretty much like a legend in the drag queen community, stuff like that. So respect to her. But I would love to see Anitra win, and Anitra kills. I mean, honestly, I think she kills every lip sync battle. So it was really close. I was always. I don't know if I'm biased or not. I probably am. I'm Team Anitra. But what happened when it was time to decide a winner?
So they had their lip sync for your life, and when it was time to declare the winner, RuPaul gave it to both of them. It was a double Shantae.
Oh, Shantae! Yay! I mean, yay and boo.
Why boo?
Because I'm Team Anitra. I mean, somebody is only gonna be one winner. Why are you doing double Shantae? And Mistress, I like Mistress. Like, I go up for Mistress, but I think Anitra won that. Some people on Twitter was like, no, Mistress won it. I'm like, are you serious? I just love Anitra's looks. Like, she just always, will kill a bodysuit. I'm a fan. I'm Team
Yeah, you sound a
Anitra.
little biased though. I'm not taking anything away from Anitra. I think she's bomb. She got it going on. She's super hella talented. She's an incredible performer. But for me, it was not an easy, clear win on that. I do think that both of the ladies ripped it. They both did their thing, and no, it wasn't. I was okay with the double Shantae. In fact, I went up for the double Shantae because I think they both were. It would have been difficult to make that decision for me.
Okay.
Because I think they both did their thing.
Okay. So next week is actually going to be the reunion. They're going to do the reunion. Well, not next week. This Friday is the reunion, and then the week after that is the actual finale when they crown a winner. So we'll have to wait 2 weeks for the winner, but give a prediction. My prediction is I want Anitra to win, but I think that Sasha Colby is going to win. So what's your prediction?
I think that Sasha will win too, and I would be completely okay with that. I love Anitra. I think that Anitra have it going on, but I just think that Sasha has the edge. Lux is a young, talented queen. She's a phenomenal seamstress. She puts together all her looks, but I just don't think that she's ready for the crown yet. And Mistress, I always go up for the big girl every season. I always root for her, and I think that she's represented well. But I just think that Anitra and Sasha both they just have that extra thing that just makes the queen stand out. So, but whomever wins, I am okay with. This is like one of those seasons where I'm good with whoever comes out of the final four on this. The thing about the whole drag culture is that I think it's so creative and so artistic, and it's more than just female impersonation. There is so much artistry and self-expression that goes into it. It's like a real, true art form.
Yeah.
And I think it's dope. And I'm glad that they have this platform, and because I've been enjoying it for years. I think I first got hit the RuPaul's Drag Race like in season 2.
Yeah, I didn't. You put me on way later. Same thing with what is it? Same thing with Love Is Blind. Yep, you put me on that stuff. So yep, absolutely. Congrats to all 4 ladies. I would love to see any one of them win. I'm sure that we'll be seeing them on All-Star seasons, And I think that I hope that they all have amazing careers and moving forward and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been a super fun season, so I'm looking forward to the finale. So let's move on to the next show.
All right, so the next show that we are going to discuss, oh Lord, is what everybody is discussing right now, and that is the Queens of R&B. That is the Xscape and SWV show.
Bravo, bravo, bravo has done it again. This is a lot. It's another one of those situations where it's like, okay, this is entertaining, but it's kind of uncomfortable and cringe, and it's kind of crossing the line into exploitation. I do not know how I feel about this, but I do know that I wish that neither one of these groups, I don't want them to do any reality again at all. None whatsoever. But I mean, it's giving lots of mess, and absolutely. So kind of break it down, wrap it up, and because I think it's only one episode left of the season. So let us know where we are at this point.
All right, so this was supposed to be a limited series, so it was only originally supposed to be 6 episodes. They've already aired 5, and then so the finale will be airing this upcoming Sunday. But the synopsis is that after the epic versus battle between SWV and Xscape, there were conversations about them possibly doing a tour together, and so the show is about them coming together and working out this tour, but it was immediately, like straight out the gate, just revealed some really, really tough internal drama with specifically Xscape and specifically 2 of their members, which are the sisters, Latasha and Tamika. If anybody kind of remembers the reality show Just Kicking It that came out a couple of years ago in regards to Xscape, there was like a lot of information, a lot of tea provided about some of their internal battles. Obviously, there were some big things between Tasha and Candy. Looks like when the group first formed, Tasha was basically the lead singer, but when they started to work with JD and him writing some of their music, he focused on Candy and her unique voice, and that was an issue for Tasha, which, I mean, I get it. If she had been the lead singer up until that point, and then all of a sudden the focus is on somebody else. You got to remember, too, these are kids. You know, we talked about with Angel and Caitlin and them being young adults. Like, when they came out, they were teenagers. So you just have to remember all of, like, the insecurities and the trying to find yourself and your place and all of that. Then on top of having to deal with the music industry and things that you just may not have had the maturity to understand, you know, that, hey, doing this way is not about a personal preference. It's just about the sound and the business, and that we think that this should be the focus. Like, I can understand why all of those things were things that they struggled with and dealt with as children. I don't understand why they're still dealing with it now. Because now you've known the business, you're mature, you're experienced. They're 30 years in the game. You understand why and how things happen then, and you should have, you know, the emotional security to recognize what is business and what is personal. And it kind of seems like Tasha is the one who just continues to cross lines. A couple of things, heavy things that were revealed. Like you mentioned, it's kind of thing like Dana's entertaining, but this is almost uncomfortable. I completely understand where the Scott sisters are like, hey, family's supposed to come first. You know, we supposed to ride or die for each other. Like, I get that because that's how we were raised. But at the same token, some of the things that have happened and then kind of shooed under the disguise of supporting family is kind of a lot. Like, I was going to say the fact, but I can't say the fact. Allegedly, there was eventually receipts that were provided that Latasha and her husband, Rocky, who also happens to be Tasha's manager, not the group's manager, but singularly Tasha's manager, had some royalty checks that were intended for Tamika made out and issued to Tamika that were cashed to Rocky's bank account. And that was something that happened years ago and had never been completely resolved. It looks like there are other families.
Ladies, please do not make your husband your manager. That's all I have to say. Let's move forward.
I'll say this. I think there are a couple of big examples that we've seen about husbands being managers. Obviously, most famously, we talked earlier about Monique and her husband, Sydney. Obviously, Wendy Williams and her now ex-husband, Kelvin, who took the money and had a baby with somebody else.
Mary J.
Yeah, oh my God, Mary and Kendu. Here's my opinion about having your partner be your manager. If you come home from work and you had a pissy day at work and you want to vent and be like, oh my God, they got on my nerves so bad, and you know your husband say, tell me about it, baby, and he rub your feet while you tell him about your crappy day at work, that is what a husband is supposed to do. If he tell you, you know what, don't worry about them, they don't make no sense no way, and you know you better than that anyway. Like your husband is supposed to big you up and support you and motivate you and hype you up, right? But then you
Right.
still got to go back to work the next day. Like everybody needs an outlet to vent. That's what your husband is supposed to do. But if your husband turn around and tell you, F them, I'm gonna go to your job and tell your job they need to be paying you more money, or you don't have to go to that, or I'm gonna like physically threaten. Like, no, your husband cannot do that. And I think that a lot of people, that some of these women appreciate the support that their husband is giving them,
Yeah.
as they should. But a manager is supposed to tell you, look, you need to be here or there or there. Or, hey, I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for you to get this or that. And the lines kind of get blurred because
it's about business. It's not about feel. You know, the manager's taking care
right,
of the business. Yeah.
right. So yeah, your husband is supposed to tell you, baby, don't worry about them people. They screwy and they, and I see why they get on your nerves. That's what your husband's supposed to do. Your manager is supposed to say, hey, I know they getting on your nerves, but listen, we're going to make this buck because we got this project going on right here, and we got this deal on the table right there. So, yeah, they get on your nerves, but we're going to go make this money so it can open us up and expose us to other things.
Yeah.
And I think for those particular handful of people, I think that is kind of where the lines got blurred, except for Rocky. I think that Rocky... It's alleged that Rocky has been, just making sure that he's getting money out the deal too, and that's the part that's kind of extra creepy about it.
So what's going on with SWV? So we know that Xscape is, pretty much they're down to 3. They've been doing shows and doing press and stuff like that, and Latasha is not participating. So what about SWV? What's going on with them?
So SWV is actually, as the 3 of them, they don't have any internal drama. The only, I guess, kind of drama that's going on with them is in relation to this this show. So it went from actually trying to organize an entire tour together to now just doing like a one-night only show. So it looks like the issue with them, see, SWV is a little bit older. They've done their work. They're like, look, all the other little stuff is petty and simple. We're going to get this bag. We understand that making sure that, our families are good and that we're earning a living is more important than who led a song and all that other stuff. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so they're just in a different space. They're not on the BS, because ultimately I feel like that's what it is. But their only drama is in working with Xscape. Xscape has kind of, well, they didn't suggest, they flat out said that they should be the headliners of the show because they have 2 predominant members of the group, which obviously is Candy, whose biggest claim to fame is Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then obviously Tiny, whose biggest claim to fame is being T.I.'s wife, additionally to her reality shows that she had with BT and then later on with VH1. And then also, obviously, they got a bag for writing. Their biggest hit, obviously, was No Scrubs and a couple of other things. So they're feeling like, hey, we have access or more people. We sell more, like they flatly said, SWV has sold more albums, but the Xscape will sell more tickets because of those 2 members and their notoriety. And SWV ain't having it. They like, no, it don't work like that. You're not going to automatically discredit us because we don't have the benefit of a reality show and, that other stuff, which is interesting to me. I mean, I guess I see their argument. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think that their argument is true. Yes, they do have more followers, but just because they have more followers does not guarantee that that is going to result in more tickets being sold. You and I have gone to see SWV a couple of times. Um, Granted, they were not headliners
No.
on the shows where we have seen them, but I was happy to see them. They put on a good show.
Oh, absolutely.
When FWV first had their little like comeback tour and they headlined their shows, I wasn't led to run out and get a ticket. Not that I don't think they would have put on a good show, but it depends on who they would have come with. I wasn't trying to run out and get a ticket to see them as a headliner.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously them girls can sing, but I just, not as a headliner. I wouldn't have wanted to spend my money on that.
What about what they
I mean,
said
look.
about the stage outfits?
Oh yeah. So in the last episode, it was a little bit of tea thrown. I guess the ladies of SWV, their outfits are more kind of casual, things that they can move in, they, dance in and stuff like that. Whereas SWV is, whereas Xscape is like high glamour, super sexy,
Is it though?
form fitted. Well, to somebody, to them, I get it. I think that their styles are very. What'd
the
you say?
dominatrix with the glue gun rhinestones, 2 sizes too small.
I ain't mad at it though. I mean, that's their style. Granted, in a way though, I get it though. It's kind of thing where it might not be my personal style, but I think I understand why it's theirs. When they first came out, their styling was super casual with the baggy Carhartt overcoats, and
it was straight out the
they
men's
sort of
department.
dressed like boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And now they want to say we are grown. We are women. They were teased. There's the infamous lyric by Biggie saying that they was ugly, and they're like, well, no, we want to show that we are glamorous, we're beautiful. So I get it. And obviously you gotta exaggerate a little bit more for the stage. I don't think that they would wear them outfits to the mall. But you want a stage, you want to glow up a little bit.
Put down the glue gun. They said somebody on, I think I read that Angel Brinks did their outfits. So I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, I know that she did their outfits when they first came back out together. I know that she did their outfits for that because they had it on that first reality show.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. So the finale is coming up.
The finale should be on Sunday. It looks like they are going to actually be able to do that one singular show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably it for now. Hopefully, they will be able to come out and get some money together. Obviously, there is a market for it. People want to see them do their thing. I think though that Xscape really underestimated SWD and their fans. And I don't want to see them fake it to make it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see them say, okay, well, we need to get this. We're going to go ahead and get this check, so we're going to pretend like we made up and we fixed some stuff, whatever. Like, no, I want it to be real. So I'm hoping that they're able to work it out, especially the Scott sisters, because that's blood, that's family. You know what I'm saying? I hope they can figure that out. Tasha had like a bit of an emotional breakdown, and a lot of people weren't empathetic to it. I think that she genuinely feels bad that she has not gotten the the response or reaction from fans that she was really hoping for. I think that that's genuine. I also think that, like I said, I empathize with her because I think that in a lot of ways she has always kind of longed for just really being accepted and feeling really genuinely loved. And one of the reasons why she just really cannot let it go with Candy is that she may feel like because a lot of the leads, because Candy really became the most recognizable voice in the group. Now, you can make arguments about who's the better singer vocally or who has the better range or who has the better control, and everybody can make them arguments. But absolutely the voice of the group, I believe, is Candy. Her voice was the most recognizable. Her voice was actually on the most singles. When you heard an Xscape song, it was her voice that made you absolutely know that that was an Xscape song. Now, again, we can make a whole lot of arguments. There are a lot of other conversations that can be made about who is a better vocalist. I'm not against having those conversations. I just don't want to do it right now. I don't think the conversation for it. But clearly, I think that one of the reasons, or underlying, she might not even be able to identify it, but one of the underlying reasons is that by Candy being made by Tasha being the leader of the group, and when they finally get their big break, they finally they're signed. They have a really hot up-and-coming producer who's working with them, and he's made someone else the voice of the group. I think that she felt like this is my chance, it's my opportunity, and it was given to somebody else. And I think that's unfortunate.
But that was in 1991, like, girl.
When we first started talking about them,
too, but
listen, when we first started talking about them, I said that I understand why things were confusing and hectic and a disarray then. I don't think there's an excuse now. I think that at her core, and again, there are things that we will probably never know that happened as the public, that happened between them as a group, as a sisterhood. But I think that might be the core of why, because it seems like nobody can really express or pinpoint like exactly what Candy might have done to just create this clear resentment that's there. It's weird. But I feel bad for Tasha because I feel like she always felt like her voice was going to just fulfill every dream that she's ever had. And I feel like because she was not made the voice of that group, even though she had tons of leads, even though like clearly there's no argument of her talent that she can sing, but she was not made the voice or the face of that group. And I think that she always maybe felt kind of slighted and cheated by that. And like I said, I want to root for her. I want to give her a props, but kind of the way that things have maneuvered and some of the way that she's done things, some of the decisions just makes it difficult to do it. But I'm still hoping that some way, somehow, she's able to get that genuine recognition that she wants, but it cannot come with Rocky as her manager. Now, she said they've been married for 28 years. They've been together a long time. Obviously she expressed when she had that breakdown that she's aware of like a lot of the allegations and a lot of other things that are going on with them as far as their marriage and her personal lives, and some alleged mistresses, plural, have popped up, and she indicated that she's aware of all that, and that's that they have an open marriage, and that's not an issue for her. I don't know if their marriage is open, because open implies that everybody, both parties can do what they want. I do think now, if two grown people decide they want to have an open marriage, that is their business. That is not my personal preference in a marriage, but I don't knock nobody. That's your business. But the thing about being in an open marriage is that the people who you choose to partner with or participate with have to also be aware that it's an open marriage. It don't sound like these chicks who Rocky been were aware of that it was an open marriage. Because if you connect with somebody who in an open marriage, you're not under the impression that they're gonna leave their wife for you. You're not under the impression that y'all gonna be a family. Like those are the kind of things that should be made really clear. So if they are in an open marriage, then Rocky pulled a Jada Pinkett Smith and had the person who he was participating with on the side catch feelings and mess the whole thing up.
Not an
So
entanglement.
yeah, like yeah, you can have an open relationship. It can't be no entanglements. Like you gotta choose better people to. You have to choose people who understand what it is to participate in
What
the
it is.
open marriage. With that being said, I know that sounds crazy, right? With that being said, I do not believe that they are in an open relationship. I think that Tasha is just kind of an old school woman who is kind of like a man to be a man, but that's not going to stop me from being with him. All the things that he do for me and impart me and uplift me with are where our connection lies, and him dipping off every now and then is irrelevant to me.
Oh, okay, full circle. That now, when you talk about imparting to me and stuff like that, that's got me thinking about Marshall and Jackie. It's like a guy could say, like almost say, "I made you," and then you have some kind of loyalty to him, or you feel like you have to be in this position because they made you. Very very interesting how that kind of
I don't
will.
think that is. I don't think. Yes. Um. Well, God. Okay. Yeah, I do actually kind of think it's sort of like that. Not quite, but sort
Well,
of. I think that
indebted,
she.
that's the word I'm thinking, not loyal. Like you're indebted to somebody who this man made you who you are, and
Well,
so
see, the
it's
thing
not
about the thing about
it's
the
not about
term.
sexual partnership.
Yeah,
It's
the thing
about
about the
being
term indebted, though. So with this specific situation, the thing about the term indebted is that it implies that if she had another choice, she would make another choice. I don't think that's the case. I think that she absolutely feels like without him, like he was the person who truly believed in her and helped her and saw what other people weren't seeing, because if they were seeing it, then they would have made her the voice in the face of the group, but instead they made somebody else. But that he was the one who really saw who she was and what she was and what she could be, and really fed to her. I think that she genuinely feels that way. I don't think, like I said, by saying, in my opinion, by saying indebted, kind of almost implies to make it feel like if she didn't have to, she wouldn't. No, she wants to. She genuinely feels that way about him. And I don't know that woman, but disclaimer, this is just what I assume may be the reason why she moved the way she moved.
very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see, what happens outside the show, because these are real people and going through real things. And I just want to
Mm-hmm.
see black women win, especially uh,
Always.
women that are grown. So, it's really bad. I just hate that it's so public and so messy. But yeah, shout out to all of the ladies. Best wishes to everyone. If I know you said that you didn't want the fans to have to choose, but if I had to choose, I would choose SWV. But I just want to put that on record. But
Well,
yeah,
listen. What I did think was interesting is the last episode they talked about what songs should close the show, and they were saying SWV's week. The members of, well, specifically Coco was saying that week by SWV should close the show, whereas Candy was saying that Understanding by Xscape should close the show. So I also go on record by saying that week was one of just a generation defining song, and that's no shade toward
absolutely.
Understanding. Understanding was a bop, but no, Week is by far the bigger hit that resonates more with fans from that generation.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We agree on that. So that's it. I just want to thank everybody for listening and checking us out. I want everybody to please look forward to more content. We're going to be doing reviews and recaps coming up in the future. But for now, every week we'll be just Spilling the tea. We'll be talking about the gossip and current events and things that are going on in pop culture. So look out for the Twist Tea Week in Review every week. And again, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is the Twin Twist
It's
Show.
called
We'll see you
the
next
Twin
time.
Twist. We call this here